Hello, friends, and welcome back to Means of Grace, the podcast where we try to make sense of faith without pretending we've got all the answers. I'm John Yeager, and today it's just me behind the mic. Jesse is off doing God's work with the leadership, and I am here. So lucky me. Which means, though, you get a full Lenten edition of my brain, reflective, curious, probably asking more questions than answers. Lent is coming. And every year someone asks, what do Christians actually do during Lent? Do we just give up sugar and hope God notices? Not exactly. In the earliest days of the church, Lent was less about giving things up and more about becoming your best new self. New believers prepared for baptism. Communities fasted together. People slowed down long enough to tell the truth about their lives, sometimes even publicly. Over the centuries, the practice changed. Medieval Christians built entire rhythms around fasting, confession, fasting, confession. The Reformation shifted things a bit inward, towards the heart. Today, some receive ashes, some begin new practices, some just show up tired and honest. But the thread running through all of this is Lent invites us to walk slower in a world that keeps speeding up. I have the privilege of having a guest during this Lenten edition of Means of Grace. We are joined by someone whose story stretches across continents, classrooms, congregations, and now some of the most complex leadership spaces in our denomination, including general conference work. The Reverend Dr. In-Yong Lee, born in South Korea, educated at Ewha Women's University, among others, shaped theologically at Duke Divinity School. We'll forgive her for that. Go Emory. We're not in it for the basketball. She completed, though, an advanced theological work, culminating in a PhD exploring Christian nonviolence, community ethics. She has served congregations across our conference, becoming a pioneering pastoral voice in spaces where leadership is ever-changing, while also shaping the future of our conference through boards, ministries, and national leadership positions. She served as a delegate through the historic 2024 General Conference season, helping us navigate one of the most defining chapters in our time. And now, as district superintendent, she carries both instructional wisdom and a deep pastoral heart into a moment when the church is asking, what do we do now? Honestly, if the church had a trail guide for the wilderness, it might look a little like In-Yong Lee. In-Yong, welcome to Means of Grace. How are you?
Thank you so much, John, for your very kind introduction. I'm doing.
Well, I could have gone on and on. Don't. That was the short version, folks. How are you?
Doing very well. I hope you are.
I am doing pretty well this morning. So, In-Yong, tell me about your journey starting or finishing at the end of General Conference. So we've done the General Conference, but your perspective at the end up until now in your district superintendent position.
It took me a while to feel comfortable in my position. I was overwhelmed at the beginning. I thought I had gone through a lot and was ready for anything. TS's job was something else.
Oh my. And I was right there at General Conference, folks, so that's saying something.
Yeah. So I felt overwhelmed. But then about 3 months later, I started feeling, I am being myself and doing the job. Hey. Probably it's a good sign.
Yeah. Hey, sometimes it takes a lot longer for people to make that realization, so good for you.
Yeah. And then the more I meet and talk with the pastors and the congregations, I found myself having deeper and deeper appreciation and love for them. And I thought, probably I'm in the right place, seeing that I have this appreciation, love for them. And so I have been feeling much better. And then I realized something else, and that is I came in when the churches and the pastors are very tired.
Yeah.
very, very tired and kind of down because of the tendency of declining in attendance, membership, and giving. And I realized that probably it is my job to say thank you for remaining in the UMC, because I have heard from many congregations that they have felt, so after going through all the struggles and making up their minds to stay in the UMC, they feel that they are forgotten, not supported, not appreciated. I thought, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can let them know that we appreciate them. Thank you for staying in the UMC. Thank you for surviving that struggle. You matter. We
That's beautiful.
appreciate you. I appreciate you. So that has been the consistent message that I brought
Yeah.
whenever I visited them.
And so forgive me for maybe butchering the translation here, but I recently went on a family vacation with Amy's family, and her cousin married a Korean woman, and she introduced me to a word that has stuck with me now, and I've used it in sermons. Forgive me, but nunchi, that being able to really truly see people in their needs. And when you were describing all of that, I thought, wow, she is nailing that nunchi. Is that roughly correct? Is
Yes.
that a, yeah,
Yes, I think so.
yeah, and I'm terribly impressed, and maybe don't let it go too far to your head. Usually when we ask these questions, there's a lot, we get some of that, but it's still this, well, and the budgets are this, and the numbers are this, and it's so beautiful to me that you immediately went to the people. It did not take you long to see that we're exhausted.
Yes, yes. I feel sorry. I feel grateful. And so when I express that, I see them sighing of relief, sighing of satisfaction, that they are seen, that they are understood. That gives me quiet joy.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I know that all of the clergy very, very much need to be seen. I think we're capable. I think and we don't know it yet, as maybe all generations who face such times. We don't know what we're capable of, but we are. But I think we are if we're seen. If it's a recognition that, no, this is hard. It's not your imagination. Don't let anybody tell you that it's just like any other time to be clergy. It's not.
It is not.
And I've told district superintendents actually recently, especially the ones who went through the disaffiliation time, that this is the hardest time it's been to be a DS too. In the history of the United Methodist Church, anyways. You have to stretch all the way back to the Civil War to find a rougher time, and that was a minute ago. So thank you. Thank you for recognizing that and seeing them. It's going to bring a tear to my eye. All right. So I want to ask you first a question about you, and then next a question about Lent, and then a little bit of regionalization.
All right.
So is one thing, or maybe a handful, of things you would like the clergy under your care and the laity under your care to know about you?
I would like them to know that I clearly remember when I was a layperson, what laity need, what they look for from the clergy, what they can contribute to the church's life, the importance of laity and clergy working together, supporting each other. And now that I am working in this office, I am trying to bring in the balance between the well-being of the clergy and well-being of the congregations, and not tilted to either side, but to find the good balance between the well-being of both. And I have very deep spiritual life, and that is the essence, the fountain, the foundation of our lives. And you said at the beginning how troubling and difficult time we are living. It is so true. How do we stay grounded? How do we not lose ourselves in the midst of all the challenges that bombard us daily? And it is our relationship with God. And going back to the Lent, which is the theme of today's podcast, Lent is the perfect time for us to go back to the basics. How are we doing in relation to God? Where are we? How are we doing? And so shed some thoughts and burdens and go back to God as we are and say, God, here I am. Form me. Work on me so that I can be more peaceful, so that I can be more effective in your kingdom work. What can I do? Lord, look at me, tell me, help me.
Say it again. Help me. Right? Yes. And I worry sometimes that we think it's hard, but it's not that hard, and it is. I listen to In-Yong. It's if not to me, listen to her. This is not normal. These times are not normal, and they're getting worse. And that's just something I believe Scripture tells us very clearly we are meant to live into. Born for times such as these. And if you take it a step further, born for times such as these so the next generation might live differently, right, and not have these same ones. So lean into it, but don't do it alone. What are some of any practices that you have ever experienced meaning around, or experiences that you didn't find meaning around regarding Lent in this coming season?
Okay. Sometimes I fasted, not the whole day, but for 40 days. I intentionally fasted from one meal a day, usually lunch. I had done that, and then praying. What I want to emphasize I want to emphasize three things. One is prayer. Prayer is our lifeline. So when we are connected with God, we are fine. So prayer is the best means for us to experience that. The second thing is reading the Bible daily. And I do that. I finished reading the whole Bible 9th time. So I am reading it from the beginning, from Genesis.
I was going to ask, what order do you?
Yeah, exactly the same order.
One chapter
a day. One chapter a day. And now I'm reading Psalms. And just staying in the Bible, staying with the Scripture, not because we have to prepare a sermon or to find something that would back up my idea. Yeah, just to go through it from the beginning to the end in a steady pace. That gives you a bigger picture of what the Bible is telling us. And we can be more better grounded when we delve into one passage and get the message out to our fellow Christians. And the last thing is giving. Yeah, tithing is an essential part of our faith life. So as prayers connect us to God, there is a powerful, powerful thing that the practice of giving does to us, and that is also a connection with God. We are embodying our faith that everything comes from God by giving back a portion.
Yeah. And that connects us to each other, because when we
Right.
give back to the greater good that is God, right? That's the point. You're letting go of some of yourself, and that connects you to the person that it helps, that it goes
Yeah,
to, that it inspires, that it does anything.
true, true. So when I first learned that I would serve as a DS, my two questions were, oh, where do I worship? Where do I go and
Yeah.
worship?
Ooh, good
And
question.
the
Yeah.
second one was, how do I tithe? Yeah.
Just 0.01% to all the just
Yeah.
send out 100 checks.
And the DSCs, the ones who have been doing it for a while, they advised me to visit different church every Sunday and worship there, and bring my tithe there.
There.
So I'm doing that. It gives me the sense of well-being. I'm okay. I'm fine by doing it.
That's right. Yeah. God says that worshiping together is holy, and there's an acceptance to that even sometimes if we don't feel it on a Sunday, we can trust God that, no, God knows what he's talking about.
Right?
Gathering together, being with fellow Christians, in and of itself, just doing that is holy. Yeah, we can't walk it alone. Jesus sent them out at least 2 by 2. So that's great. I have 2 questions, about follow-up questions. I have found joy, honestly, and holiness in fasting that I never found before when I was younger. And this is going to sound strange, because I was talking to somebody just recently about fasting. They said to me, well, I don't know, like after whatever hours, my stomach starts to hurt. And right, my instinct, and it just came flying out, maybe I'm getting too old, it just came flying out and said, that's kind of the point. Whoa, and I said, I'm sorry, that was a lot of truth. And right? But it is. There's a healthy and an unhealthy, don't get me wrong. But that hunger pain is supposed to focus you. You're not supposed to not be hungry. That misses the point entirely. And the Bible is just so filled of the truth that we are meant to, at various degrees and at various points, suffer. That's a part of this whole thing. And running from it constantly puts you in a terrible place.
Mm-hmm.
So by living into it, that in and of itself centers you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to get real about it, then say, well, that hunger, that pain, it clears your mind out of other things. Your mind wanders far less. You're able to focus more because you're like, gosh, I'm hungry. And the only 2 things you can think about are hunger and what you're doing. Your mind can't wander. So thoughts around on that, and how you practice fasting now through Lent. What are some of your practices in detail? Not total detail, but hours as far as, or days.
So I used to. I'm glad you asked me, John. I used to, when I fasted one meal, it meant from noon to 6:30, not eating anything. just missing lunch the whole. However, as I progressed in age, I developed a condition that made me more vulnerable in like having to eat something very little here and there. And I thought, okay, it's not good for me anymore. And related to that, I think it is in Isaiah, when God laments over some practices of fasting, saying, are you calling it fasting when you oppress others, when you do injustice? That is not fasting. Fasting is freeing the oppressed, doing justice, feeding the hungry. That is the right fasting. So we need to develop. I'm not downgrading or dismissing the importance of the actual fasting. I think there is a beauty of being able to concentrate on our relationship with God, and also probably we are fasting intentionally. We have something to eat.
Yes.
But expanding our minds and hearts towards those people who don't choose to fast.
Yes.
But don't have things to eat. So I think it is important, but it is also important that biblically the right kind of fasting is doing justice. Yeah, that's what God is looking for in us. So
Yeah, that's so well said. You should be a DS. So, oh wait, I have one more. Of tithing, because I couldn't agree more, and it's one of those things. I couldn't agree more. How do we stay away from becoming the wealthy who are seen putting in their tithes, at the temple where Jesus is just sitting on the park bench doing a little people watching, and he sees the Pharisees, I believe it is, or Sadducees. It's not there's no ambiguity to it. They give their amount, but Jesus says, "But you didn't even feel that." That the woman, then of course the widow comes along and puts in her 2 coins, and that's maybe all she's got, or half of what she's got, or so she feels a tremendous loss, or the giving hurts her in some way. And I say hurt, but you know what I mean. It comes from something. But for the wealthy, their genuine 10% didn't feel it. Right? Their bank account didn't feel it. Nothing about their lifestyle had to change. They still get to go out to eat, that evening and spend an absurd amount of money. How do we, and I think in today's day and age, because tithing is so down, how do we shift maybe our narrative a little bit? Or do we need to? Do we need to shift back to an older narrative? I don't know. You're the DS. You're supposed to have the answers now.
You are actually really asking very complicated.
I know. I'm sorry.
I am not against the wealthy.
No, of course not.
Especially if they can continue to tithe.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful thing, because their tithe may be a big amount of
Heavens,
money.
yes.
Yeah.
Keeping a lot of churches up and doing a lot of programming and a lot of giving and a lot of ministries. Heavens, yes.
Yeah. I'm not against the wealthy. And I'm saying it especially because as I studied in the MDiv, THM, and PhD programs at Duke, it was all on scholarships.
Yeah.
Where did they come from?
Yeah.
They come from the faithful Christians who saw the importance of supporting students who would serve as pastors or professors.
That's right.
And they saw the beauty of contributing to that.
Yeah. The Good Samaritan had money.
Yeah.
That's
And
he wouldn't have been able to do all of those things if he didn't have
mhm.
deep
when
pockets.
I
Lazarus's tomb. There's just so many different, yeah.
when it took so many years for me to finish my last degree, what came to my mind was I cannot stop doing it. I have to finish this because so many people have
Yeah.
given, and I'm building on their sacrifice and their faithfulness. So I will have to finish this, and I finished it, and um, so whether you're poor or the wealthy, doesn't matter. Start when you are not too wealthy. Start it. Start giving back one tenth to God, saying, Lord, the whole thing came from you. This is my way of saying, admitting that, thanking you. So continue to guide me, continue to provide for me and my family. And here it is, use it for your kingdom work.
Yeah.
Does
Yep.
God need it? God has everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I have heard the general thought of, well, the Bible's pretty clear that wealthy people are no good. And I think, well, no, not at all. What it does at most is it ascribes a level of responsibility that seems to be a sliding scale on the more blessed, the more holy obligation. I don't mean that in a bad way at all. You're supposed to do it with a joyful heart. A holy obligation to give back. And it's in so doing that you thank God, for those many blessings. So no, it's not when I hear things like the Jesus saying the eye of a needle and the camel, right? No, easier for a wealthy person. But I think it's important to note that he says that, and what I think he's meaning is it's just that they have such a deep burden to everybody else having so much that it takes a special heart, to give so much of that back. They've earned, they've worked for it, or have done all the things for it, or inherited it from the people that worked for it. I mean, it means something to them. So anyways, that's how I've interpreted. I got In-Yong's approval. Did everybody hear that? Well, thank you. And I think you're right too. I think you're 100% correct about that. So we've got differences of opinion, differences within our denomination. Talk to me about regionalization. In-Yong was on the committee, I believe, yes, for regionalization.
Yes.
And it passed and has been pushed around the conferences and voted on and all that. So walk us through that. What is regionalization, and why should we be supporting it?
Right. So, yes, I have been a part of the Standing Committee on Central Conference Matters for 12 years. That, among all the things that have been such privileges to me, that was the top one. Because I had the pleasure of being part of a very international group, and whose mindset was so open, so respectful to one another. And so I learned a lot from just being part of that group. And when it became clear that the disaffiliation fatigue and the drama was going on, that our UMC would be slimmer after letting go of those components of our denomination that are against the idea of LGBTQ.
Among other things.
Right, right. It became very clear that the UMC has been a very U.S.-centric denomination, and that's naturally because UMC started out with the American churches, and because of the faithful work, mission work of the UMC church, American churches, there became more and more churches forming in Africa, in Europe, in the Philippines, and thank God it has been so successful that the growth in
Yes.
those regions has been significant. And it was time for us to restructure ourselves, reconsider ourselves. Are we uh, are, are we supposed to continue this U.S. centric structure, or is it time for us to look at one another and consider one another on an equal footing, and really reach out to one another in equality? And also, there has been this disadvantage that the American churches had over the central conferences, which are outside the U.S., and that is the central conferences have enjoyed from the beginning, enjoyed their autonomy. They were not bound by the Book of Discipline, some parts of the Book of Discipline already, and they were finding freedom to be faithful as United Methodists in their own political, cultural settings.
Which is wild because that is not why they were made.
Right. Yeah.
That,
And
the history is,
and it was a beautiful,
yes,
legitimate thing. It was a
yes.
beautiful thing, and the U.S. was not allowed to have that kind of autonomy, and so the regionalization got rid of that U.S.-centric nature, and we are understanding our denomination totally differently now, and then that also gives the U.S. its own autonomy because we have our unique political setting, political challenges, the
Yes.
cultural challenges, and the delegates from other parts of the world don't have to deal with American issues.
They have their own issues. We all, yeah, right? And
So
they,
it
and yeah.
frees up everybody from having to deal with things that they don't have to. And so now US will have our own regional conference which just deals with the American issues. And when the general conference get together from now on, they will truly be concentrate on the worldwide issues. So it is a wonderful thing, and the very fact that the aggregate of all the annual conferences votes on that constitutional change, it was way more than like 97%.
My.
It is just amazing. It's mind-boggling the
Hey,
support.
that's a testament also to y'all's work
Yeah.
of crafting that, the message and the wording and going through, I don't know how many languages. I wouldn't even dare to guess, let
There
alone
are
cultures.
four languages.
4 languages, the cultural differences, and to get 97%. Well
Yes,
crafted
yes, yes.
and well said. Thank you. Thank you for that. So now, as I understand it, every region, I don't know how many there are, how many,
8.
8 regions now across the world, and they will operate within their own confines.
So there will be something that is called General Book of Discipline that has the essential parts of the current Book of Discipline, which all the regional conferences have to abide by. And there are other parts that'll be revised according to each culture and political context. Each regional conference will have their own version of the non-essential parts that that belong to the current book of discipline.
So they'll have, as far as autonomy to change their version or the non-essential parts of the book of discipline. And the others will be decided as they always have been at General Conference.
Right.
I assume. And that will allow for cultural context. As you said very well, that the Central Conferences kind of began to enjoy out of a really dark time, honestly, in the Methodist history, but it's so beautiful something like that could come from it and become the model. There's a lot of God work there.
Yes.
And y'all too. So thank you for that. Okay, so last question. And then if there's anything else that you'd like to add about for your district to know about you, we can do that at the end here. We mentioned earlier that pastors are exhausted right now. And it's a combination. We'll just get real tight into our conference. Don't even dare say when it began. Years ago, who's to tell now, but we've gone through leading up to disaffiliation, but that was coupled with cultural, political atmosphere that began to get more heated. And that collided with general decline across the board in just church attendance. And then that collided with COVID, and then that collided with actual disaffiliation, the actual fracturing of our denomination. We were their brothers and sisters in Christ 5 minutes ago. Even if now this is a divorce, even if now we're separated from them, that's painful. It's not just releasing and freeing. There's some damage that had been caused. And I think we underestimated financially. I think we've underestimated in a lot of ways just how much it affected us. And you're seeing a lot of that fallout. And the clergy who had been doing all of those things through COVID and then disaffiliation and are now in a church with not enough numbers and less people, because even after disaffiliation, the churches that stayed, a lot of them lost people. And some of them big givers, big doers. So my question is this: if all of that is true, how can we reach out to each other during Lent? As clergy, retired clergy, this is an all hands on deck call. I'm tired of this. Any clergy that understands this, has been a DS or a bishop, how do we reach out to each other in Lent to just see each other? To see that, it's kind of the namaste, but in reverse. The exhaustion in me sees the exhaustion in you moment, and there's supposed to be glory in that. How do we do that? You have a higher perspective now from DS, so you see the pieces a little differently. How can we reach out to each other? How can we be there for each other during this time of Lent? What can clergy do? Help.
A few days ago, I even forgot when it was, a person who was leading this group activity asked us to do this all at once. Sigh. You are okay. You are fine. You are as faithful as the Christians who were part of a thriving, booming churches in the 1960s. Were they more faithful than you? Not at all. We are being called to a very different time. How do we stay faithful in this time? And Gil Rendell freed us from this self-blame and blaming others for the decline. Don't do it. Don't say we have to go back to the glorious days. don't do it because there's no way to go back to it. The way he freed us, and it was in his book, Quietly Courageous. He called the 1960s the big church growth era. What was the word? It escaped my mind.
But yeah, it flowed through the 70s and 80s and even into the 90s where...
Right. They didn't have to do much.
Ooh,
Just
say it
the
again.
regular things, and people just keep showing up.
And I will tell you, my father was a pastor, and he retired many, many years ago now. And he looked at me, and this is the strangest thing. And this is hard to do. And I would encourage older clergy especially to reach out to the younger people and say something like, I don't know how you do it. He looked me right in the face and said, I have no idea how you're clergy today, with everything, all the things, the culmination of all of it. And it put a tear to my eye because he'd never said anything like it. And I feel like you're right.
Right. Yeah. So the word still eludes me. It means exception. It means not normal. And what he was saying is that was a very strange phenomenon that happened out of normal.
Extraordinary, indeed.
Yeah. There's no way to go back there.
No, it was a convergence of so much prosperity.
Yeah. Do not do that. Look ahead. Look at it now and look ahead. Don't look back. And that freed me because I had been looking for a way. I was blaming myself. I may have been blaming others for churches declining.
Sure, yeah.
And I got freed. Finally, I got freed. That was not the only thing that freed me, but that was the final thing. And
that perspective shift is just so powerful.
Yeah. Do not do that. And one thing I am doing is to encourage and invite pastors and churches to consider cooperative parishes.
Yeah. Consider everything. Just be open. Cooperative parishes is the term of the day. Lean into it. And then if somebody suggests something else, lean into that.
Right.
I have said a few times to my congregation and in publications and things and on the podcast, we were a victim of our own success. Mm-hmm. It's a moment in time that can never come again. And holding on to it for too long has hurt us.
The word came back to me. Aberrant.
Aberrant indeed.
Aberrant time that was.
Yes.
So...
And we mistook that for, wow, we must have been doing something so right. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the faithful Christians back then might have built bigger, larger churches. In our time, the faithful actions may be small size. Like
take those chains off of you. You don't have to be a steward of a generation, of the last generation's beautiful things that they built. Right. They're beautiful things that they built. Mm-hmm. But nothing's supposed to last forever. And if generations go by without any buy-in, without building something of their own, without building something new, it dries up.
So don't compete with one another. Don't feel bad about yourselves by doing that. Reach out and affirm each other. Affirm yourself, affirm one another, and find the way that our God is working among us, and find a way to join it.
Yeah, and Lent is the perfect time to do that as we shed the old, that the new we have to make room for the new. And sometimes there's just too much old stuff.
True.
In-Yong, thank you so much for this time. Is there anything else that you would like to say about being a DS that you think maybe your district would like to know or hear?
No, I think I said everything I had in mind. You guys Thank you. You matter.
Play that over and over, clergy. We usually have a moment for strangely heartwarming, but we hit several strangely heartwarming moments, I think. Not the least of which, remind me of the author that wrote that book for the Aberrant.
Gil Randall.
Gil Randall, that's right. And that moment for you.
Quietly courageous.
Quietly courageous, absolutely. And epic fail. I mean, we're living in our, and don't shy away from that. Open your eyes. Jesus was probably wandering around so much, going, "How do you not see this? It's happening right here." Open your eyes. It's okay. And as In-Yong said, we're gonna be okay. So, friends, as we step towards Ash Wednesday, remember this. The ashes are not a symbol of failure. They are a reminder of belonging, whose you are, and what you are. They tell us that we're human, that we are finite, and that somehow, mysteriously, through God, eternity is right there too. Maybe Lent is not about becoming just a better version of yourself. Maybe it's about becoming a more honest version of yourself, of seeing ourselves that we might see each other. This has been Means of Grace, a podcast of the United Methodist Church. I'm John Yeager. Thank you so much, In-Yong. And wherever on the road you are, keep walking. Grace is already ahead of you.